What's going on, speculators? Let's fire up the Futures Fanatic live stream for the afternoon, the Power Hour. It is Tuesday, the day before the Fed day tomorrow, which I will be streaming. I'll be streaming the Fed earlier, so we're going to do that at 11 a.m. out here on the left coast, and we'll also have the trade room normally in the morning from about 6:30 a.m. till 8. So lots of fun stuff tomorrow. Before we get going here on this broadcast, just want to remind everybody that presentation is for educational purposes only. The opinions expressed are those of the presenter only. That's going to be me the whole session. And that all trades presented should be considered hypothetical and should not be expected to be replicated in a live trading account. As those of you might know, I'm here to just talk about how to do prop programs correctly. And prop programs are predominantly, at least for now, they are simulated accounts. You can get paid on those, so that's great. So that's important to understand the difference between that and a live trading account. One example might be tomorrow, there's going to be a lot of firms that might temporarily change the margin requirements in live accounts, whereas all prop programs do is say, hey, you just can't trade during this time, but they keep all the sizing on, so that's not really realistic. All right, cool. Yeah, we also have don't look directly at the sun, wait 20 minutes before eating, after going, before you go in the pool, don't run with scissors. We've got plenty of others. All right, I'm trying something a little bit different here today. I'm going to have these themes or topics. And I don't normally talk about or like to put dollar amounts on thumbnails or anything like that, but I'm going to do it now because that seems to be the thing to do. If I want to get my message out, I'm going to get my message out about how to make 1,000 or 500 or 2K or 5K or 10K, yes, in a day. Not right away. It's going to take you a while. You're going to have to put in the time. You're going to have to put in the time across all types of development of your skill set, learning how to use platforms and copiers and which prop firms you want to have and all those types of things. But today I'm just going to talk about what you're seeing over there on the right-hand side, which is essentially about 20 accounts and $50 to $150 in each one. That is typically what I'll do, all right? Now, that is actually not a typical day in the sense that more typical, I'll try to get those accounts at least to around what my daily risk budget is so that we're producing risk-adjusted returns. I'll talk more about that in just a moment. So the concept of building from $100 per account is something that you also grow into. If you read my ebook, Prop Done Right, which you can get in the description down below, I tell you to start out with 1 to 3 accounts, maybe as many as 5. Eventually learn how to use a copier or replicator, okay? And we're going to manage risk in just that single account. You can call it your lead account, leader follower. Many of you might know how this works. Had a great conversation with one of our members today named Rhonda out of Michigan. If there's any members in the room, give a big thumbs up again here in the chat for Rhonda today. I thought it was an outstanding discussion. And what do you know? She's having success, and she's essentially just doing what I suggest people do when they first start out. Nothing special. A daily risk budget of about $150, which I have said is probably pretty small. Those that can operate successfully with that daily risk budget, that's fantastic. And she's trading the Dow Jones, which is what I have here on the screen. The Dow Jones undulated really nicely today. Okay. The key to the Dow Jones today was to, obviously, if you catch this double top in the short here, that was great. Many in our room did. This fall is what's treacherous sometimes. This candle right here, these series of candles right here, where we went down to the prior session low and then left that in the dust and came all the way down here to almost get to 46,000. There was a number of people that said they were tracking to 46,000. But this whole trade was very, very manageable. It was great if you had a short on and you had some runners, but as soon as we got outside day down, I began to say something, which is outside day down, and that refers to any time price is trading below the prior session's low. It is infinitely easier to look to be a buyer on outside day downs as opposed to stay on the sidelines than it is to be someone who's shorting on outside day ups in the NASDAQ or the S&P, especially in something like the NASDAQ this morning, right? We've had a series of outside day ups. So to do some teaching, I'm not going to teach the strategies today. But the way you stack gains, like what you see over here on the right-hand side of the screen, is eventually, the way I'm doing it right now for sake of education today, and all of this is covered also. If you want more detail on it, just pop over to my website, go to the blog, and read these last 2 articles. Not this one. You all probably know what prop trading is, but the futures copier. So starting with something like Replicano on Ninja, and then multi-propping madness right over here. And believe me, when you have as many accounts connected as I do, it's quite madness, right? So you don't have to start with that many accounts. So price went down, stayed in the bid zone, and then once it stayed in the bid zone, we never again saw price threaten to get back outside the bands, right? Now, the stat that I'll say all the time is that during the cash session, the S&P is going to stay within 2 standard deviations about a little over 80% of the time. We don't have the back testing on the Dow, but the Dow has a decent correlation to the S&P, so you can work within that same assumption that 80% of the time the Dow Jones is going to stay within 2 standard deviations. And when you have an outside day down, which we did here today, once it got outside, and we're hugging the bands, this is what the bands look like at the time, right? What we have to do is earn the right, which we did certainly in a number of these accounts. Buy, cover, buy, exit. Okay? I won't go through all these trades again. Many people have asked for a recap. So here's a long. Now, at the time I started entering this, I was already up about $60 in all these accounts. So long, cover. I know people don't like the cover concept. Long, exit. Long, exit. Long, okay? Long a 2 lot, long a 3 lot, close. Get out, starting to break, right? Long, exit. Long, okay? And the nice thing about this, everybody, is there's an exit, there's another exit, okay? We can just walk through. I think that was it. You see how pretty this is? Yeah, but this time the room's closed and I'm off to Pilates. Another thing that Rhonda said today was music to my ears as she talked about backtesting. Probably not some fancy backtest where you have to code a whole bunch of stuff up and you need a ton of historical data. Just go back a few days and walk forward backtest this. What we're doing every day when we're trading is we're walk forward testing. What you can do is just go back and backtest this and be as intellectually honest as you can. By that I mean you're not allowed to buy 3 or 4, and these strategies are not about martingale. They're not about double donking at levels that don't make sense. What they are about is that since we're keeping our risk under control by trading micros and the Dow Jones micro at high probability turning points on an outside day down, we're giving us the opportunity to truly trade professionally. Okay? And I say those terms, I mean, there's nothing at all professional in 95% of everything that I see in terms of prop trading, even from a lot of the so-called educators that are associated with a lot of these firms, where they're trading one mini and then maybe they add another mini, and it's all good as long as they keep their stop and their target in place. They're managing risk accordingly. Well, no, they're highly over leveraged the moment they trade a single mini. Whereas if you stay under 4 to 5 micros in the Dow Jones in a $3,000 account, you are properly leveraged. You're using leverage properly. And you can trade around a position. You can add to an unprofitable position and then scale around it, especially on outside day downs, because the probability of V bottoms is infinitely higher than the probability of V tops. V tops will happen again, blow off tops, and they're great. When you catch a blow off top, it's like the greatest thing in the world, because markets are supposed to fall faster than they go up. But I've been doing this a long time now, and it seemed like the last decade or so, markets can go up just as fast as they can go down. Do you see how fast they went up on the Jackson Hole speech when the Jackson Hole speech was announced, right? Make your head spin. Can I show my MYM chart? Which one? At 9:30? Sure. So 9:30 is 630 over here. So it's right here. If we want to do a vertical line, I'm not a very smart man, but it's right here. So there it is right there. That's the 630 open. Okay. So you can come over to the NASDAQ here and mess around with this thing, which, by the way, did also hold its zones pretty well. And I did. I traded it a little bit today, just single contracts. Here's an entry. Here's an exit. And I think I just did one trade. Yeah, and then that's the end of the room. Okay? So for those that like trade recaps, here's the entry, here's the exit. God, remember when I was talking about 23 eights and 23 twos and 23 fives and then 23 fives? Now we're doing 24 fives, right? All right, so the purpose of this session today is to have on that screen over there on the right permanently what I did this morning. Now, sometimes I get some flack. I don't know why I always concentrate on the misinformed. I often say I love the public. But I think the misinformed can help me just trigger in a positive way, not trigger in a, let's use the word activate, can activate in my brain ways in which I can help the folks that really want to be helped. So yes, over there on the right-hand side of the screen, I have up what I did this morning. It's probably not going to change that much because there's not a lot of opportunities right now. That's the other aspect of situational fluency. So what I should have said is how you can turn $100 per account into 1,000 or 100 times 20 into 20,000 into 2,000 in just 90 minutes. The best 90 minutes of the trading session, best 2 hours. From right around the bell to 90 minutes in, or if you want to do 2.5 hours, if you can trade from about 5:30, 8:30 Eastern, about an hour before the open, it's going to give you some opportunities in things like crude or gold, which has been going nutty, right? And what you see on this chart, in one single chart, while to some people it might look pretty busy and there's a lot going on, there really isn't. We're just using a modified Renko, which you can get for free on from Ninja, or you can get it over on TickBlaze. If you just buy any of the PropShop accounts or tell me you're using TickBlaze, find a way over to something on my list and just ask me for it and I'll give it to you. On Ninja, it's a little bit more difficult. You have to apply a order flow suite and then you have to apply these bar types. But this is also the volume profile on the same chart. So this right here is VPOC, the volume point of control. So we have everything that we need on this chart, and then we're just going to overlay our ATR. I have plenty of teachings right here on the channel on the concept of ATR. Because what a lot of traders are missing is they have a couple components of it. But the more time you spend with things like, look, there's nothing wrong with the orb. There's nothing wrong with these things. They're like the kiddie pool, though. And why do you want to mess around in the kiddie pool? I'll tell you where you can mess around in the kiddie pool in keeping your size under control and use something like the Dow Jones. Let that be your aspect of being on the bunny slopes. But things like the orb and so many of these other strategies, they're fine. Like you put the here and here in a 15-minute candle. Here's the problem with that. It is too mechanical. It's not accounting for anything that is actually dynamic. It's just arbitrarily saying, okay, for now, we're going to use an opening range breakout. By the way, you can backtest that, which is great. If you can backtest something, I'm in favor of it. You can certainly trade it. You can't backtest trend lines. You can't backtest Fibonacci levels. You can't backtest any of the ICT stuff. It's complete nonsense. They're just literally assigning values to things that happened in the past and saying that that was where there was smart money or liquidity pools or some sort of flush or whatever bullshit that is. But back to the concept of the orb or any of those types of strategies, they're not really helping you develop situational fluency, and they don't account for volatility and they don't account for volume. Now, I know there might be some people that are overlaying a volume profile on it a little bit and making a decision as to what they want to do based on the way that volume histogram looks like, and that's great if they're adding that. But the two things you have to have is volatility and volume. And if you're trading VWAP bands, you have with a volume profile associated with it, you have everything you need other than understanding the volatility at a higher time frame, which is measured by our 7-day ATR. Okay, so that's it. This is the formula that you can use, and obviously a little bit of money and a decent amount of your time and passion and commitment and discipline and patience and all those good things. Because I'm not saying, and I would never create a thumbnail that said, watch me make $2,000 or $4,000 or something trading 2 minis or 4 minis when I catch a little move. That is what the YouTube algorithm is all about. And those videos and those little sound bites still get a lot of views and probably always will. Instead, let's talk about how to make a small amount of money in a single account, then ultimately across multiple accounts. By the way, when Apex adopted the Lilu model and some other models out there, because some of the original firms like TopStep, they didn't give you 10 and 15, 20 accounts. I don't think they had 4 or 5 or more than 3 accounts until 3 or 4 years ago when they got Apex, right? Apex is like the Robin Hood for all the Apex haters out there, whatever your favorite firm is, you owe it to Apex for the fact that that firm exists and that you like it. Different rules, different pricing, whatever gets you off about promoting or being proud of something other than Apex. I get it. But what Apex has always done is allow for, and still does, a lot of accounts. And if you do it properly, not blow and go, not blowing them up, not complaining when you're not allowed to buy any more evaluations because you've already had 500 of them. Right? So I've seen a number of pretty good videos on YouTube now in the trading space talking about this is the best time ever to really learn this skill because things are changing and AI is going to change the whole world. And the acceleration of change, the pace of the acceleration of change is, even with everything we've seen since the internet, it's staggering now. So you have to develop a skill. If you outsource that to a bot or to something as simple as an orb strategy, it ain't going to work. All right, let's see if we have any questions that I can answer. Trading with Ninja, which trade copy do you recommend? Again, I have a full article on the trade copying under here. So you can read this right here. And I am using Affordable Indicators, their copier, and Replicanto on Ninja. Okay? The one I would suggest you do not use is Apex's. It's fine, but it was a white labeled version and then they made some mods and they created their own. I mean, I would just work with one of the commercial ones where they spend more time on just being a good copier. Right? And then the copying for everything else, the jury's still out. I know there's probably people just tuning in. It's like, is this guy ever going to recommend
Order filled.
Thor or tell me exactly what to use? I will eventually, but don't wait on me.
Order filled.
As you'll see from those articles there,
Order filled.
the 4 right here. So I have friends don't let friends trade the NASDAQ, but late in the day I will.
Order filled.
I'll trade the NASDAQ right here, and so there you go. Since that screen came up, one more time, just to remind everybody that PropShop does have end-of-day accounts, and they have a BOGO sale going on. So full disclosure, it's a little bit more difficult to get yourself up to 20 accounts using just Rhythmic and things now. You're going to have to stitch some other things together. The easier way to do it is Ninja Tradeovate right now, but a lot of that will be changing, where you can use things like Thor, and you can copy between Project X, and you can copy between Tradeovate, and you can copy between a Rhythmic connection, and you can use whatever platform you want. If you have a Rhythmic connection and you're grandfathered or have Apex or have Bullinox or have one of those firms that have a rhythmic relationship still with Ninja, you can even use Ninja if you want. But anyway, that's there's a little short that I have going on here. Let me just look at what my positions are. Yeah, in number 3, I want to take another one off.
Order filled.
By the way, let me hold on this for just a moment. You see W0, oh, you can't see that because this is in the way. So don't worry about it. Let's do it over here. Is it right here? You can't see that either. That's off the screen. The point is that I have the very first series of accounts that I ever bought over there. Okay, we're still working through those. You think we could possibly have a little bit of a sell-off into
order filled.
Into the close?
Position closed.
Haven't seen that in a little while.
Filled. Position closed.
Okay. Let's see. I'm going to come down here and thought you were going to see cartoon rod. Yeah. I should probably get one of those filters. The Snapchat filters. Isn't there a guy? There's a guy that's a panda, right? Jeremy's my boy. He comes in here every time and tells everyone to hit the like button. You know what I would love to do is get to 100 likes. So can you really do that? That would be awesome. Only about 300 to 400 people watch the videos, maybe 500 or 600. I'm not quite up to that nice guy that's got 5,000 people watching his stream as he jerks around the NASDAQ every day. But hey, whatever it takes. So if we could get 100 likes on this video, I would just be appropriate or happy or grateful. All right, she follows instructions and trades the YM. Ain't nobody got time for that. That's right. Finally caught you live. I like your handle, Thumper. Trading with Ninja, which trade copy? I already answered that. Stop going long when you should go short. I am short. I'm short right now, just the NASDAQ. I already showed my YM chart. Have you looked at or tried any of the tick blaze automation or going to test any of them? No, I'm probably not. I've been pretty clear, and I don't want to be disparaging about Algo AI or any of the tools that NeuroStreet sells or Arc AI sells or anything like that. I just think that the only way to do automation is to automate something that you understand, not other logic, even if it's explained to you. So if you were to come in and really learn my stay in the lane strategy, you could use any of dozens of tools now. It used to be only a few. Now you have dozens of tools at your disposal, or you could just use any of the AI tools. You could use Claude, you could use ChatGPT, you could use anything really, any of them, and you could just ask it to write out script for Pine Script or for Ninja Script, or you could write it in Python and run it on TickBlaze. So don't rely on anything that anybody sells. Learn a strategy that you like, walk forward, test it, trade it, know what it is, understand how to calibrate it accordingly, know when you want to run the model, and now you have everything. Now is the greatest time not only to be a trader, to just even be alive. I mean, if you heard the Sam Altman quotes, they're coming fast and furious, but I believe it. There's not only 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 kids out there that are 5 or 10 or 15 years old, maybe even just getting out of college if they even went to college, that are probably going to create $100 million businesses by themselves. No employees. Tech businesses. Products and services that are delivered digitally. Maybe not. Maybe they can create $100 million supplement companies or whatever. Entirely done with these tools. So that was a long-winded way of saying no, and while I'm not going to spend any time on them, because I rather eventually help people understand how they can take the logic that they understand, ideally my strategies, because my strategies are the best for what most of you are trying to do. These are short-term, essentially scalping for the most part. You can use the range trader for a little bit more swing trading to produce daily income to make $100 or $200 or $300 or $500. And then leverage that however you want across accounts. All right. Upstairs, down elevator shaft. That's right. Yeah, that was That was 0 prints to the upside when that was going on, right? How many do you normally trade with? Contracts? Your sizing and your risk management is completely determined by your daily risk budget. I would hope that most of you want to spend a decent amount of time either at your job or with your kids or with your significant other or doing hot yoga or whatever turns you on or playing guitar. You do not have to be an all-day trader for this kind of stuff. Get in, get out. 90 minutes, 2 hours. These streams are for me to create content, get my message out, and create, again, little sound bites that we can use to get more people to come into the trade room, because the trade room is where those results happen, not here, not in the afternoon. Okay, but to put on a level, I will come down here and put an order at the -2s. See if we get a weak close here. If I wanted to be a little bit more aggressive and be in a trade, I could do one right here too. So let me do that in these series of larger accounts where I have a lot more risk budget, and I don't mind if we get a fill at the -1s.
Order submitted.
You can do the -1s. You can do the swing level here. Brad, one of our trader advocates, calls it -1.5, halfway in between. You know, so you could pepper the book. It looks something like that. What you see on the screen there is not adding to a loser. It's not double down donking. It's not anything that will get you in trouble at any prop firm. If it's micros and it's risk-adjusted returns, I'm going to go to bat for everyone who's out there trading like this, because there's no reason for us to be lumped into these other categories of any kind of payout denials or any kind of problems. We're not there yet, but we'll get there. We'll be this cohort of traders that don't make them very much money, but ultimately, and I'm already starting to, 4 of these firms have come around a little bit. And by come around a little bit, they're like, maybe I should create this program Rod's talking about, so I can essentially automate everything and don't need any risk managers to look at anything. And when they request their $600 or $700, I'm just going to pay them because they've done, I know programmatically there's nothing they could have done incorrectly, because their max size was 3 micros or 5 micros or 8 micros. And then I don't have to have any rules of any kind. Margin requirements change with live accounts during high volatility periods and might tomorrow during the FOMC, but not the amount of contracts you can trade. As long as you have the margin, you can do whatever you want. You can do news trading. You can do pairs trading. You can do spread trading. You can do all those things. And I want to create a cohort that we could deliver, and essentially these prop firms could truly copy your trades and make infinitely more money than they have to pay out. It's a good deal for everyone. Then you can just stack all those gains, put them into your own live account, and do whatever you'd like. Okay, what's the best way to get back with the group if you have lifetime? I had a big debacle. Arun, the best way to get back with the group? Just log back in. Come to the website, hit members login, and log in. See you there tomorrow. Especially if you have lifetime. That's the reason for lifetime. You guys can always come back at any time. How can you access the trade room and learn the strategy? You go over to the website, tradersdevgroup.com, right here. Go over here. And I suggest you start with just maybe the ebook. Go to the blog, go to the ebook. I'll put this in here. Just grab the ebook. And if you have the ebook, then that'll get you on the list, and that'll point you towards how to get to this page if you want, or you can go directly to this page. These are questions I like. These are buying questions, right? Even though you don't have to buy anything, it's all free. The trade room's not free once you want to join, but you pay attention to what you pay for, as I always say. All right, there's the answer there. You lost your job. You want to make money for a living. Is it possible to pass? Of course, that's what I'm here for. My job is to give everyone the unwavering faith that this, by the way, should we take it? I don't know.
Order filled.
Let's just take it. Anyone get long there at the -1s? And then in this count, we'll wait for just scalping away. We'll just wait for here and here.
Order
We can do a little target in reverse. Rod, you said you never sell the middle of the muck. Don't get short at VWAP. VWAP's not an entry. Can be when you got skills. So Rich Muss or anybody that's concerned about their future, you have to come in and put in the work. You have to put in the time. I'm here to show you that this methodology, in air quotes, works. It works better than anything else that you can get, and I will stand by that. Anything. The strategies that I'm teaching, when done properly and combined with these prop programs, are more powerful than anything that is taught out there. Specifically because they're giving you multiple entries and dynamic targets and dynamic entries and a sense of volatility and volume and an understanding how to read markets and an understanding how to make decisions within the context of how many chips you have in front of you. It's all there for you, and it's all free until such time as you decide you want to join the greatest trading community ever created, and then you can become a member. And recently we had a special where you can get 90 days for $249. And all the indicators and all the workspaces and all the desktops and all that and the members Discord and all that for free. If that's your thing, if it's not in the description down below, just send an email to info@tradersdevgroup and say, hey, I want to join, not I want to do a trial for 2 weeks. If you do the trial for 2 weeks, then that deal's not there. All right. Yeah, Craig's saying it's way too well. We got some superstars that get up in the middle of the night, and you can certainly apply everything I do on the range trader to things like the DAX. If you want to trade the DAX, if you want to trade the micro DAX or micro Nikkei, you can do that. I would not suggest trading any stock indices based on the U.S. stock exchange in the middle of the night in Asia or the South Pacific and stuff. So that is a factor. But this strategy here, which is called the range trader, I use this to trade a bunch of other instruments, mostly in the treasury markets. And you can find your way as to how to do this. I would say that there's value even if you're never in a trade room live. If you're never in a trade room live, people say, you sell a course? Do you sell a course? Can I have a course? I'd rather give you $1,000 for a course. How about you join for $249 for 90 days, you cancel and never come back again. You know what you have access to? The members Discord for as long as this is around, where there is now more recordings than you could ever watch, ever. Go back and watch those recordings. That happens to be what Rhonda mentioned this morning. She's only been a member for 6 weeks. This is our Trader Talk. Can I get a thumbs up in the chat if you were in the room this morning and you listened to Rhonda? It's fantastic. Same story you'll hear. Found her way to futures, trading minis in groups that were trading minis, losing money, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and trepidation, butthole pucker time every time you hit the button. Never thought of trading the Dow. And you can also get access to the free area of Discord for now if you'd like. I'll put that in here. I'm going to hesitant to do that, but I will do it again. Our free area has just become a cesspool, but there's nothing you can do about it. Here you go. Use copy button. Oh, it's just hidden. Okay. It's hidden because it thinks I'm streaming. Nick, if you want the 249 special, send an email to info@TradersDevGroup and just say, I'm in, or I want to join. Before you do that, it would be great if you, grab the ebook or something so your email is just in our system. If you know that you're not yet in our system, just grab the ebook or any of the other free resources, and then you'll be in the system. So Brad's in here. He'll take care of you. So just say 249 special or whatever, and he'll take care of you. Then where I want everyone to hang out eventually is in this channel right here. Okay? This is the channel. This is my favorite channel. And I love that this is what I love. Thank you, Linus, for posting this. $500. You know? All that nonsense out there about it's got to be huge amounts of money or... No. Reach this milestone that 90% of traders... This 90-10 thing is just so consistent in trading. It's consistent in the prop programs too. This one certificate of payment out here puts him in the 10% of everybody going through these programs. It's actually a little higher now. It's about 17% that ever take a payout. But the amount of people that then blow up and have to start all over or get out or break even or whatever, you know? And then we have, there was one here that was awesome. It was like $100 or something.
Order filled.
$150. I love it. All right, I just heard filled. Look at that. We just hit target. Was anybody long that Dow from right here? Don't say I never take a trade for you. Right there. I don't know. There's a weird blue line here that, you could teach an 8-year-old how to play this video game. Put a order to buy on this blue line. If it goes down here, you'll get another one. If it keeps going down, you hit the close button. There you go. I just taught you the strategy. Okay. All right, we've got 4 more minutes to our market on close. Pop in any other questions you guys might have. Real quick on what that special is. It's 3 months in my trade room, so that'll almost take you to the end of the year, certainly till the time in which we slow down for the holidays. You get 3 months in the trade room. That's a savings of like 35% off the monthly. You're going to get lifetime access to the Extreme Turn on TradingView, NinjaTrader, and TickBlaze. You can get the entire TickBlaze desktop, one-click install. That TickBlaze desktop, by the way, is going to stay relatively dynamic as they make changes to TickBlaze, as more features and functionality come in. What do you think about shorting VWAP here, huh? I'm not sure. We'll see. Been a while since we've had a week close. So you get the indicators, and you get those for life, whether you choose to continue on in the trade room or not. So again, for those of you that are in other parts of the world where being in a live trade room during the New York Open is not ideal, I still think this is the best deal out in trading, because you'll get to keep all those things, and you'll get to keep the recordings of the PTR for as long as forever, because they're all posted in Discord. People that are signing up now are also going to get a month free in the TDG Dojo, which is a new thing that Brad is doing about an accountability forum. And there will be a cost for that, because you pay attention to what you pay for. So it's going to be our first added additional thing that we ever charge for. And I think it's going to be great. It's not going to be a lot of money, but it's going to be an accountability area, because I or anyone can only do so much. I can't hold you accountable. A typical experience that I hear the last couple trader talks haven't been like that, so maybe people are starting to finally get the lesson, is that someone signs up and 6 months later we speak to them and they're like, well, it took me until about 3 weeks ago to finally decide, okay, I'm just going to do it exactly the way you're saying to do it. So what we need is an accountability environment, and we're creating that as well. So you get 1 month of free access to that as well. Nothing to cancel. You don't have to do anything. If you want to continue, we'll tell you how you can continue. Because what Brad's put together is this kind of karate analogy thing where you're going to start out as a white belt, then you get to green belt, then you get to blue belt, then you get to black belt or red belt, then black belt. I think there's 4 or 5 levels. And what we're going to have is we're going to have the black belts helping the younger traders and keeping them accountable. I look like Jerry Lewis. I've been told a lot of the time I look like, well, Nick Cage is kind of somewhat of a relative. I do not have anything new for my Kerpos. So Kerpos stands for current positions, and I have no positions on in the treasury markets right now. I'm going to wait obviously till FOMC. My inclination is to sell the 113Z end puts, like sell a lot of them, but I'll just wait off. And then the last trade I had in there was gold and then Bitcoin. So I bought Bitcoin at 110,500 and sold it at like 116. Did you guys see Bitcoin today? Oh, I'm short Bitcoin up here. Shoot, I didn't know that. All right, I'm just going to close
Order
this.
filled.
$1.
Order filled.
Let me just cancel all of my orders over here. Just make sure we... No, I'm going to leave let me leave these orders on because I have some... I'll sell this swing instead. And the proper level would be up here. So let's just do the proper level. That's the proper way to do this. You could certainly trade this chop channel right here if you wanted to. Down over here is what I was talking about. So I just moved my short entry there. And you have this entire kind of chop channel that's been going on. Okay, so it's white, orange, blue, green, and then black. All right. The only martial art I ever studied was called Krav Maga, which is it's an Israeli self-defense, but it's not really self-defense, like aggressive as heck. All you do is go for the groin and the throat. There's no bowing. There's no Zen, nothing. You just but I kicked ass. We're not really covering options that much. There was a funny little the misinformed masses that were talking about why I'm not actively teaching options, and someone said, well, because it would affect his edge, and that's my favorite thing. Tell me you have no idea how markets work without telling me you have no idea how markets work. I ain't Warren Buffett, gang. I'm not I'm not Bill Perkins. There's nothing I could tell you that would affect the liquidity of any markets that we're trading in. All I could do is help myself by getting more people to trade MES and MNQ options. So it's been backburnered for a while and will probably remain backburnered. There is a training on futures options that I have in it's the one mastermind I did. It's under the training section in Discord. You can go watch that. I think it's a great starting point to understand the benefits of futures on options and the difference between those and equity options. Anyway, we had our market on close orders. They were a total snore. But there's just too much opportunity in driving this message home again and again and again, day after day. Now we'll have the accountability forum as well. We only have about 500 members of our group. We should have 5,000. We should have 50,000. I mean that. By the way, if we had 50,000 people essentially all doing something similar to what we're doing and entering the markets at the same time, if 45,000 or 48,000 of those were still on simulators that they were getting paid out for, and that looks like that's going to be around for a while. Just as we were calling for the demise of this model, it wouldn't affect, it wouldn't change what's happening here at all, in the slightest, not one bit. You guys ever look at a dome? Do you ever look at the amount of contracts traded at every tick on the MNQ? It's fine. There's how many contracts traded today in the MNQ? Not many. Only 720,000. The average is more like 1.2 million. Yeah, one thing we can spend more time on as soon as maybe some more firms support this, but it's something like, looking at the ZN. All we're doing is trading the same range trader, but look at this. I was short some 113.5 calls. Unfortunately, it came right back in, but we've been trading between 113 and 114 for the last 10 trading sessions, and we'll see if we stay in this range afterwards. Could be a sell the news event. Sell the news in the treasuries would mean what? That rates are going, sell the news would mean rates are going down or up. In other words, if you were look like short right here, like here.
Order submitted. Order canceled.
It's inverse, right? So sell the news in the treasury markets would mean that following the announcement and press conference tomorrow, rates would actually go up. If rates were going up, the treasury market would go down. How many futures options traded today in the ZN? You guys want to see? I don't know. Oh, in the MNQ, we don't need to look at, but in the ZN, we could look at it. The easiest way to do this is for me to go here. Where is it? There we go. Okay. Pretty good. For all you liquidity hounds out there, think you can handle that? Open interest of 23,000, 51,000, 41,000, 41,000, 18,000. You get the story, right? Open interest over here of 67,000, 47,000. So as you can see on the call side, kind of anchored. Got some upside, 39,000 on the downside, kind of 112. So again, I'm not a genius, but I would expect 112 to 114. It's probably going to hold tomorrow. Maybe if he's extremely dovish, we could see or hear about a... Did anyone short VWAP? Any of my more adventurous and skilled traders? Short VWAP, target in reverse? Who did it? I got to wait 20 seconds. Do I look at resources like Arun? You're a member, right? Just come on back. You'll figure out what I do. No, I mean I look at Edgefill occasionally. It's a great tool, but it's not really necessary. What I'm doing, folks, is keeping this as simple as possible. Many people are going to F it up, even as simple as I keep it. First, by not listening. Second, by not going through the training. Third, by not putting in the time. Fourth, by not sizing things correctly. All those things. So there's infinite ways that you guys could screw this up. So One way I can screw it up is bringing in a whole bunch of other tools and things you don't need. You don't need algos. You don't need bots. You don't need other strategies. Just do this until you're doing this. Okay? Do this until you're doing this. Now, do you see things like this in other Discords? Of course. Do you see 8,500 sent to you from Bolinox or 10,000 from Top Step or whatever? Yes. But you just have to trust me that the way people in our group are doing it is infinitely different. It's truly risk-adjusted returns. It's without any threat to their accounts being lost. It's truly cash flowing these.
Order filled. Position open. Position closed. Order filled. Position closed. Order filled.
So I see that
Position closed.
the Nasdaq's creeping up a little bit here into the close. Nasdaq's creeping up. Oh, no, it's not. Sorry. Those were longs at -1. So it went down. We finally had a little bit of selling. I just heard some orders entered, and these were what should have been targets, but I left them in there, so I
Order
just closed
canceled.
these longs. So SARB did do the short at the. If you come into the trade room, when I ask that question about who's on this same side, who's in this trade, how are we doing, you'll get 20, 30, 40, 50 responses of, yeah, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, we're all in the Dow, we're short right now, or we're long at these levels. And the key is that we have a common language, vernacular that we're working with. When I ask that question, I'm aware of where the markets are. It's not willy-nilly. And people are paying attention and they're following what they need to do. All right, there's 1 o'clock. You get 30 seconds to ask another question if you'd like. I really would highly encourage, take the risk. It's not much of a risk. Come join our group.
Order canceled.
All right, Arun, welcome back. We'll see you in the morning. Okay, everybody, stay green, trade like you mean it. Tomorrow is going to be a super fun day. If you're not yet part of the TDG community, let me put this in here one more time. If you just pick up either the trade room right here or the ebook, which I'll go to in just a second. Trade room or the ebook. Get notified of our free look stream starting tomorrow in the morning as well. So you can join in the morning. You don't even need to sign up for anything. Obviously, you will have signed up for either the trade room or the ebook. But grab the ebook. It'll get you on the list. You'll be notified of the stream tomorrow. And you can join Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in the morning. And then tomorrow, we're going to do a session in the morning, and we'll do another session that starts just before the presser and the FOMC announcement. Fun day Wednesday. That is correct. All right, everybody, stay green, trade like a minute. Thanks for joining the stream. We'll see you at the next one. Be good. Bye-bye.